Hi everybody! I hope you're doing so well today. We are so excited to be here and have so much planned for you. So firstly, we're going to be doing a little bit of art. Then you're going to watch a little YouTube video made by WaterAid and learn all about water. Learn how important it is, how we can look after it. You'll then hear a wonderful story by the author Laurie Newman, the story Jessie the Jellyfish. And finally, we will go back over our art. So before we do any of that, something I'd really love for you to do is to really think about the importance of water. What do you know about water? Are there any facts that you know? How can we look after it? So on a post-it note, if you could write anything that you know about water, anything at all, how we use it even, what we use it for, and I want you to write these things down and go and put it, stick it maybe at the front of the classroom. If you've got a whiteboard or a flip chart, anything at all, stick it at the front. And maybe your teacher can read a few before we move on to the next section. Have a go. So we're going to do a little bit of art now before we move on to you watching the YouTube video. We need to do this bit of art because we need it to dry before we move on to the next section of the art. So let's just check that you've got everything that you need. So do you have a piece of A3 card, some blue paint, some water and paper towels? If you do, let's start. So we're going to create a blue wash. So you're just going to use your paintbrush with lots of water and go along the whole page, really backwards and forwards, big strokes for me. So I'm going to start and then you can start with me. Let's go. Lots of water. Great. So whilst this is waiting to dry, we're going to move on to the next section of the workshop. So what I would love for you to do, we sent a link that will lead you to a YouTube video where somebody from WaterAid will tell you about what they do and also the importance of water. So pause this video now and watch the YouTube video, and I wonder if at the end of it you could write down some more facts that you found out about water. and they can then be stuck at the front of the classroom again, which is going to help us at the end of our workshop. Did you enjoy the video? Did you find out some more facts? Have you had time to write them down and stick them at the front again? Maybe your teacher could read a few more out before we move on. Now, we have a really special treat before we go back to the art. You are going to hear a lovely story by Laurie Newman, author of Jessie the Jellyfish. She's going to take you through her beautiful story. I really hope you enjoy it and are really inspired afterwards to move on to our art section.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to be here and especially to be able to be tuned in to all of your schools. That's absolutely awesome. So first, before we get going and before we create our beautiful pieces of art, I'd just like to introduce myself. So my name's Laurie and I'm the author of Jessie the Jellyfish. Now, maybe some of you might have heard of Jessie the Jellyfish before, but don't worry if you haven't, because I'm here to share my story with you guys today. So before we get started, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about me. So I grew up right by the beach in Bournemouth, which is right at the bottom of England, right by the sea. Now I was quite often in the sea and I quite often had sand in my shoes and sand in my hair, and I loved being at the beach. I would always make lots of sand castles and play in the sea. But you see, the thing is, with the beaches recently, is I've kind of been realising that they're not how they used to be. Recently, I've seen lots and lots of rubbish on the shoreline, and lots of rubbish that wasn't there before when I was growing up. And the thing is it's not just the normal bits of rubbish like plastic bottles and plastic bottle tops. We're also seeing things like this. Now maybe amongst you, you could tell your teacher what you think this is. I think it's a mask. And I know that it's been so important to make sure we keep each other safe during COVID. But at the same time, I've seen lots and lots of these being washed up on our shoreline. And we really, really don't want to have lots of dirty water. So while I'm reading, I need you to have a big think about what you can do to make sure that we keep our beaches clean and our shorelines free from any plastic and rubbish pollution. So, I hope you're all sitting comfortably and you're ready for my story to begin. Jessie the Jellyfish. Dive down to the bottom of the shimmering sea. Far, far away from you and from me. For this is where you'll find Jessie the Jellyfish, bobbing through tons of rotting rubbish. Where are the fish? I hear you ask. You used to see them with a snorkel and mask. The sea was once ever so clean. Now, there's only the odd sardine. Jessie searched all around, but her friends were nowhere to be found. "Are you one of my friends?" she cried, to a bag left drifting with the tide. Its tentacles were far too stubby, and it found nothing very funny. But Jessie longed to find a friend. So maybe she would just pretend. Where had the other sea folk gone? Had they packed up and all moved on? At Mermaid Corner, the mermaids weren't home. They no longer danced in the fun, frothy foam. Jessie thought they were all alone, when suddenly she heard a groan. "Oh, Jessie, you gave me such a fright. There isn't a Dover soul in sight. The sea is now a giant bin. Even my home is a baked bean tin. The rubbish stretches far and wide. You've been dancing with it in the tide. Even your new friend over there was dropped with very little care. Then suddenly, with a splish and a splash, the humans began to pick up their trash. The bendy straws, the spiky forks, even the bags and bottle corks. With the corals sparkling super bright and hardly any litter in sight, they could tumble, turn and twist through the night. The mermaids were finally back on the rocks, combing and plaiting their long, luscious locks. Even the rays from nearby Ray Bay returned to party, have fun and play. So pick up your straws and dinner forks, the plastic bags and bottle corks. We'll be one step closer to a clean sea and the beach, a nicer place to be. The end. Well, I hope you really enjoyed my story because I loved sharing it with you all. Now, hopefully, that's given you lots of things that you can think about, and maybe it might actually inspire you so that next time when you're on the coast, you could maybe do a little mini beach clean, or you might pick up some rubbish that you might find even in your local park and put it in the bin. Because the thing with rubbish is it somehow makes its way down to us, down to the coastline and out into the sea, because all our wonderful rivers are all connected to the ocean. So we just need to think about that and make sure that we're looking after our beautiful planet, not just for us and for the likes of Jessie the Jellyfish and all her beautiful sea creatures. We want to make sure that we can enjoy the planet too, and so that we can protect all those mammals that we share this lovely earth with. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll pass you over now to Abby, who's going to take you through your wonderful art activity today.
Are we now ready for the main part of our art? So I want to make sure that you have got everything before we begin. So we've got two templates. We've got the plastic bag. We've got a funny looking template which is going to turn into our Jessie the Jellyfish. We've got some paint, red, yellow and blue, water pot again, a nice fine paintbrush, plastic, this horrible stuff, glue and some scissors and paper towels again. Once you've got all your equipment, we are ready to begin. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to use our plastic bag template and we're going to draw around where we would like it. So let's have a look. I've used pencil to draw around my first template. This is what we're going to stick bits of plastic into. Now I'm also going to draw around my jellyfish template. Now I'm going to put her by the side. Fabulous. So we're going to do the painting first. So we're going to use our paint in maybe a different way than you've done it before, and we're going to make sure we've used a lot of water. Now something I love about Laurie's book are the illustrations. Really beautiful, the way that all the colours, it feels quite watery and dreamlike the way that the jellyfish are coloured in. So I want us to try and recreate that. So we're going to think about what colours that we would like to use. I'm going to try and make a purple. Does anybody know how we make purple? I wonder if you can tell your teacher. So we've got a bit of blue. What's the other colour? I wonder if I can hear someone saying the other colour. We've got a little bit of red. So I'm going to mix my blue and my red together, keeping it nice and watery. Now I'm going to show you the first bit of how I do it, and then you can take it away and think about what colours that you would like to use. Think about going around the outside. So I don't want to see my pencil line. Maybe I'll get a bit more water and really blending that in. Now I wonder if you can all choose your first colour and think about how you want to design the outside. Shall we all have a go together? I'm now going to include a little bit of yellow. Now I know that purple and yellow are what we call complementary colours. So in our colour wheel, they're opposite each other. And for me, they go so nicely together. Then finally, I'm going to use a little bit of red. Now you do not have to copy my colours. You can decide what colours you would like to use. Super. So now when we do our tentacles, we're going to come down really nice wiggly lines in a few different colours again. Really free with our hands. See if you can really use the paintbrush and kind of let your hand relax as you're coming down. I think our jellyfish is now looking quite colourful and magical. So now we're going to move on to the plastic bag. Now, like I said, we're using this unrecyclable plastic. The plastic that, if we throw in the bin, we can't recycle it. It just gets thrown in the bin, and so much of the time it ends up in the ocean. So us reusing it today is really doing a good thing for our planet. So I've cut it up into kind of smallish pieces, and we're going to stick that on until the whole plastic bag is filled up. Do you think you can do that with me? So cut and stick it all on. Let's go. Wow, our piece is really coming together now, isn't it? So our final step is to go back to those facts that we wrote down at the beginning of the session. So maybe something that you knew, maybe something that you learned from the WaterAid video, and using a pencil first and then going over it in pen, I'd like you to write it around your picture, almost like the waves. So the words are the waves travelling in and around your jellyfish and plastic bag. Maybe you can think about 3 to 5 phrases to write around. So I'll show you what I mean. So one of the phrases that I remember from the WaterAid video was 1 in 10 people live without clean water. So that really struck me, and I'm going to write that down because I would like people to see that, and I want to make sure that no one lives without clean water. We all should have clean water. So let's have a look where I can write this. Maybe you could even write things like reduce, reuse, recycle. Where shall I put that in my piece? Maybe around our jellyfish? What other facts can you write down onto your piece? Now we would love to see your final pieces. We'd love to see your colourful jellyfish, all the plastic that's stuck down, and all the facts that you have written in and around like waves. So if you would like to send us your piece, please do. I'll put up our email address at the end of the video. And if you have any questions at all for myself, Laurie, or WaterAid, please do email us and we will definitely answer them for you. Thank you so much. We really hope you've had the best time and we can't wait to see what you have made. See you later. Bye.